go. Test, test, test. Testing, testing. Test, test, test. How's my sound? Devontae, how's my sound? Can you hear me? Test, test, test. Test, test. Sounds great. Okay, cool. Not getting any feedback. Sometimes I have trouble because I'm on several different platforms at once and I have like a couple different applications going. Okay. So it sounds like sound is good. There's no echoes. So I'm gonna get started here in a second. Let me just make sure everything's good on this end over here. Okay. I'm just gonna get right into this and break down how I've been able to work from home for the last 10 years. I've been working from home since before COVID. So 2014 is when I started working from home, and I just never went back. So in this time frame, I've worked for several different companies, several different large organizations, um, and and I've just been able to keep doing this. And before I did it, I didn't know if it was possible. I mean, I knew it was possible, but I didn't know anybody who'd done it. I didn't know many people who had done it at the time. So it seemed like it was not possible until I started meeting more and more people who did it, and until I did it myself. And now, not only is it possible, um, you can do it too. Anybody can do this. And what I'm going to do is break down. I'm going to do two parts. All right. So if you're, I know that you guys are limited on time, and the person I'm going to send this to, you can watch the first 5 minutes of this and get everything you need and walk away. All right. So I'm just going to get right into this and tell you how I've been able to work from home for the last 10 years. Now, let me just tell you right now, like my background, I've been doing cybersecurity for over 20 years. I've got extensive experience. Um, I hold a few different certifications. This is really all I do and all I know. Um, that said, currently I don't have a job. I'm in between jobs, put it to you that way. And I just want to make be very transparent, so yeah, I'm not trying to blow smoke or anything. And just to make sure you know that I'm a real person. I'm not just trying to sell you something. Um, you can download my book for free. I what you're seeing on the screen right here is a book I wrote like 4 years, 6 years ago, where I talked about working from home. I All I did was I took notes on how I did it. I put it all together into a book format, and then I put it on Amazon. Right. This is what I do. I'll study something extensively, or I'll take this experience I have. I'll put it in notes. I'll put it in a book. Put it out there for people to purchase or whatever. Right. Because that's how the reason why I do that is because I read a lot of books and I love audiobooks. So I was like, well, this should be out there. Like, if somebody has extensive knowledge in one area, then you should put it anyway. All right, so this book is available, but I'm gonna put this for free. If you go to login.convocourses.com right now, you can download this book right here for free. It's very short. It's a very thin little pamphlet that you can get, but I'm gonna update it. So right now, this right here is an updated version of it that I'm working on. Look, you can see that I've got this is old right here. This is something I need to update. I'm working on it right now, so you can actually download this right now. If you go to login.convocourses, you can download this, and it breaks down what you're about to see. Very quickly, I'm going to explain to you how I've been able to do it. Okay, there's three main things. I can boil this down to three main things that I've been doing. The bottom line up front, like, I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on, and then we'll go into greater detail. I'll take questions. I'll explain, go into greater. I'll do a walkthrough of how I use these different new tools to find jobs and things like that. Um, I'll just show you what I've been able to do. So number one, you gotta let employers know that you're willing to work remotely. I know that maybe this sounds silly, but there's so many different organizations that I talk to that one of the first things they ask me is, "Are you comfortable working remotely?" Because some people are not, which is surprised the hell out of me that some people don't want to do it. But you've got to let people know. And I'm going to show you how you do that. All right. Number two, you've got to find and apply for remote jobs. Obviously, right? I'm going to show you how I find these jobs and how I apply to these jobs, these remote jobs, right? So there's a few different tools you can use. And number three, the most important is you got to be aggressive. Like, especially now in this job market is really tough, and they're trying to crack down on remote jobs. Like, some organizations are backing off of, in some sectors, some whole sectors are backing off of remote jobs. um, that said, they're still out there. They still exist. It's just much harder to get them. The most important thing on this list is you can't give up. You got to continuously, you got to be aggressive and continuously put your stuff out there. Those are the main things. So, like, right now, you can just walk away if you that's it. This is what I did. But now I'm going to get into greater detail. So first of all, letting employers know. Let me show you what I mean by this. So I'm going to show you my LinkedIn. This is my LinkedIn right here. If you want to follow me, I'm out there. Just search for if you're on LinkedIn right now, just go to uh Bruce Bruce space CISSP space RMF, and you should find me. But the link is in description below. If you have this video, I put the link to my LinkedIn. That way you can look at my LinkedIn and get an idea of what kind of things you should put in there if you're looking for remote work. Um, Number one, right away, let them know. Like I said, let them know that you're looking for remote work. So right here, I put remote work preferred. I leave it open, especially in this economy. I'm okay with working hybrid or on site. Um, but yeah, remote work preferred right away. Another thing is I put it also in here. It's also right here. Looking for remote work, but I'm open to on site. Right there. You got to let them know that you are available for remote work. One of the very first things you got to do. All right. And you notice this is on my profile. You want to put this on your resume. You need to put it on your profile, and not just on LinkedIn. Okay. You need to put it on Indeed, on Dice, on Monster, on several different job aggregators is what I do. I'm just telling you what I've done. Right. And this, right, all of this stuff I've documented in a book, in books that I written for many years ago. Like, this is all coming from it, and it still works. Now, there's different tools that I'm going to show you that you can use that didn't exist when I wrote this some 6 years ago. But if you want to get all this stuff right now, it's on Amazon. Look me up on Amazon. I think I put the link in the description where you can go find all the books in this whole series that I wrote many years ago. Anyway, I'm going to tell you for free right now how you can do this. Another thing is, I'll put it inside of my experience. If you have experience working remotely, you want to put it in there. So right here, I put remote work, remote work, remote. So it's been a while. This job was also remote, but I put it in there. Everywhere that I've worked remotely, I put it in there. So you've got to let them know that you're open to remote work. No, that's number one. Okay. And that's how you do it. You can put that in your profile, and your resume, everywhere. Right. So that's number one. Now, step two is to find and apply. Okay. So let me show you how we do that. Since we're already on LinkedIn, let's go ahead and try. Let's do it here. So in this day and age, and for those of you who have been around the block, you already know what I'm about to do. And this is nothing new to you, but just keep in mind, there's some people who don't know, right? They're new to this game. They don't know that you can get a cybersecurity job remotely. They don't know these things. So I'm speaking to them. So all you do is let me just type in one of the jobs that I go for. All right. So risk management framework, is a skill set, is a knowledge base that I know very, very good. It's targeted for the job that I want. All right. So number one, like you probably not a GRC person. You're probably, I don't know if you know risk management framework. I don't know what you do, but whatever you do, whether it's help desk or SOC analyst or whatever, you're gonna put that in the search engine. And next, you're gonna filter by jobs. We want jobs here. Let's look for jobs, right? So now it's, instead of looking for people or groups or whatever, we're now looking for jobs. Now let's look for remote. Most job aggregators and job sites have somewhere where you can filter to find whether you want a remote job, an on-site job, or a hybrid job, meaning it's kind of both. So I'm going to go ahead and say remote jobs. There's 3,000 results. So for risk management framework. And I can just go through and apply for each one of these jobs. Again, they're very competitive, right? So you can't give up, which we'll get to in a second. But yeah, so that's one thing you can do. Let me show you another way you can search for jobs. Let me see if I can find another one of my favorite job aggregators out there that does a really good job. Indeed is another one. So let me show you that. Okay, let's see. Just go to Indeed. And it's not just Indeed and LinkedIn. You know, there's other job aggregators. What I'm showing you here. So here we are again, and I'm just going to type in my keyword, which is RMF. Yours might be SOC analyst. In fact, let's try something else. Let's just do SOC analyst. SOC analyst, and I want a remote job. So it forces you to put something here, a location of some sort. I put remote, but you can also, what you want to do really is put remote here in this filter. Let me make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see it. There you go, remote right there. And then I'll put in RMF. That's my keyword, but it could be SOC analyst or whatever. As a matter of fact, we were already on SOC analyst, so let's go back to that. And we've already selected remote. Let's make sure it's selected properly. Okay, there you go. And you can see there's 25 jobs for a SOC analyst job. One with General Dynamics, one with Freddie Mac, and one with if you're aggressive, you want to do this on every one of the job sites that you frequent. Meaning, if you're on LinkedIn, if you're Indeed, you definitely want to be on more than one. I would say, like, as many as possible. I'd say as many as possible. That said, once you start putting yourself out there, you got to be careful about your personally identifiable information. You know what I mean? If you don't want to put your full address, obviously just be careful with your information, because you're going to get, if you put yourself out there enough, you'll start getting fake scammy type organizations contacting you. And as much as they're going to try to screen you, you want to screen them. You don't want to waste your time on a bunch of these scammy type organizations that are either trying to get information off of you or trying to sign you up for some kind of real estate pyramid scheme bullshit or something. Just, you got to screen every kind of person that's contacting you. It's going to be a lot of once you start getting contacts, you will, if you do what I'm telling you to do, you will get contacts. You'll get some contacts from people from all over the world, because what US companies are doing is they're hiring staffing companies from other countries, namely India, to help them to recruit. And all they have, it's like they'll have a bunch of what do you call them? Telemarketers, people contacting you, and all they're doing is screening. They're doing screening calls. So they're doing like 100 screening calls a day or something, right? Like, so you'll have people with an Indian accent contacting you. So not everybody with an Indian accent is a scammer, right? I just want to let you know like what's about to happen. There's a lot of great staffing companies from all over the world that will be contacting you. You know, they're not it's not all bad, but there are some bad ones. So you definitely need to figure out what is going on with these companies. Like if they contact you, don't start giving them all your information immediately. You need to research, like if they have links in their bio or whatever, research them before you give them information, right? That's all I'm trying to tell you. So you can use LinkedIn, you can use Indeed, you can use Simply Hired. ZipRecruiter is actually a really good one. You can also use Chat GPT. So let me show you how you can do that. So with Chat GPT or any other AI platform, you can just do something like this. You could just say, find Perplexity is also good, by the way. Find a job remote making at least 100K, whatever your number is, right? Per year. You should have some idea what your marketability is. And you could say something like, what I do is put my resume, right? This right here is a game changer. You can literally just put your resume. It's wild. You can literally just put your resume in there and then ask it, hey, find a job for me that fits this right here. So let me just grab one of my resumes, and I'm gonna put the information in there and show you what I mean. And I'll show you another couple tools here to help you out. So here we go. We're gonna go to. I'm just gonna grab one of my random resumes here. So just bear with me while I open this up. Let me see. Just kind of off the cuff. I just wasn't prepared to do this, but okay. So I'm just gonna copy my entire resume, and I'm gonna say, here's my resume. Here, it, here, here is my resume. Match jobs with this. You don't have to be fancy or anything like that. You can go further. Like what I like to do is say, don't give me any jobs that have already expired. Don't, I don't want to see any clearance jobs. I don't have a clearance, so I don't want to see any of those. You can put all kinds of filters in there and they'll find it. Check this out. So here's my whole resume. You want to be mindful of stuff like this too. Like just keep in mind when you're putting your stuff in these AI platforms that are cloud based, unless you have one that's local. Um, it this data is going into their systems, right? So this right here is going into OpenAI systems. If I was using Gemini, it'd be going into Google's servers and it's storing it somewhere. Just be mindful of that. So you want to be careful about your personally identifiable information being put in these cloud-based AI platforms. Um, just be careful, okay? So another thing I'll do is say, I want to say list out 10 jobs that fit. And then we already said it's remote, right? So, and all that said, let's go ahead and hit submit. I just hit enter, and now it should give us results that match what I do, right? So here we go. Here's the results right here. Let me just make my screen a little bit bigger so you guys can see what's going on here. So yeah, let's start from the top. Cloud senior, why you fit this job. It's coming back with a bunch. Okay, so what I'm missing here is links. So it has some jobs here and they look pretty good, but let's add some links. I'm going to say, please add links to each job. So now it'll give me links that go directly to these pages here. There we go. So senior cloud security engineer, 12, let me see, search on 112 results on Glassdoor, posting. You can refine this too. This one, this is not the best, but I'm just going to go ahead and click one of these. Let me see. 179 jobs. Let's see what it says here. So what the AI is doing is it's searching for me. It's going to Indeed and LinkedIn and ZipRecruiter and saying, "Hey, here's some jobs that fit. These are all remote," and it's putting the filters in for me. And I could actually refine this to where it goes directly to the pages because it'll one thing that AI will do that's really cool is it will search the actual career pages of some of these companies. So let's say send add links to actual career pages. Okay, there we go. And there it goes. You get the idea. You can kind of mess around with this. Here's one on Amazon Jobs. Um, and one of the things you'll find out is that some of the jobs are already expired, or that's why you got to go through them. So I think this job is actually already gone. But what one thing it's already done here is look at this. I didn't know that this existed. This one's in Australia actually. GRC specialist is finding jobs that kind of fit what I do. Some of these jobs are kind of fitting what I do. So you can use AI. You get the idea, right? You want to spend some time messing around with this. And it's not going to be like a one and done type thing. You're going to have to really spend some time doing this. But this tool has been invaluable. It's been an incredible addition to what I already have. The old stuff still works, but having these additional tools makes everything a lot faster and gives me more and shortens how much time that I have to use to search for these jobs and helps my application process. So the last thing in my list of 3 things that you need to do to find a remote job um, is be persistent. Um, I can't emphasize this enough. Um, so sorry about that. Switch screens here. There we go. This job market is very difficult. Um, this job market is extreme, especially 2026. It's crazy right now. And let me back up. So the industry that I'm in is the defense is government, and government is doing several different things all at once, and it's making it difficult to find positions in this field. They are there, but it's just harder. I showed you a bunch of tools, but another thing, one of probably the most important thing that you should do is reach out to people you know. I am very fortunate to have this platform to where I have people contacting me about jobs, which I'm very, very thankful to everybody who watches and who've been submitting my resume to different jobs and stuff. So I'm very fortunate. But look into your own backyard, your friends, your family, people who your uncle who also works in IT. He might have some positions. Like maybe it's not in his department, but maybe he knows of a friend who has openings. Things like that. Like reach out to your network of people that you know and they might know some openings cuz those internal hires, they go pretty fast. Like a company what they'll do is they'll put out a request. They'll have a request out there for a position, but before it even goes out to the public, they usually try to shop it internally, right? And a lot of times those jobs don't even make it out. Like probably most of the jobs don't even make it out to the public because they hire internally or they laterally move somebody here and there. But the way that we can get in there is to ask people we know, like, hey man, like Ask your former job. I'm telling you all the stuff that I've been doing over the years and that have helped me to get these remote positions. I'll reach out to peers, or peers will reach out to me. We'll just be chit chatting about whatever their life or whatever. And then they'll mention, hey, we got a job opening here. Like, are you interested? Do you have anything? Are you available? This is a really good position. Or my friend of a friend has an opening that just popped up, and I noticed that you're a GRC person, you're a IT person. So that in a nutshell, I gave you the quick bit about how to do this, and I'm now open to questions about this. I'll open this thing up. I'm not ignoring you guys. I just wanted to get that out of the way. Book is for free. If you log into login.convocourses.com, I'm still tinkering with it. I'm going to re-release it with some updates. It is a bit dated right now, but all the stuff that I do in there still works. I talk about things like how I was able to travel to other countries doing remote work, which is really rare. I traveled. I talked about how you can do what's called overemployment, having multiple jobs at once legally with no problems. I've done that before too. I talk in that book briefly about, like, it's not really for everybody. If you have small kids, it's probably not, unless you have like a house where you can have a room where you're quiet. It's quiet, it's really not for everybody. Those are some of the things that I talk about in that book right there. I'm going to be updating it with some of the stuff that I showed you as far as the AI tools that you can use to really fine tune and find jobs. But if you guys have any questions, I know some people jumping in here. I appreciate you guys. Let me see here. Shout out Professor Black Ops, my man right there. If you guys didn't know, Professor Black Ops talks about really lately, man, he's been on a tear. He's been on a run, like, where he's talking about AI, how AI is impacting security, and how there's these different security frameworks and standards that are being released and stuff. Like, his stuff is really good. Professor Black Ops on YouTube, check him out. Security expert, how you doing, man? How's everyone doing? Good afternoon. Salute. Okay, let me see. I've got some questions over here on TikTok. Let me see here. Thanks for the sound check, y'all. Got about 15 people watching me on TikTok. It's wild. Okay, let me see. Do you tutor people? I don't really have time to tutor people. The best I've been able to do is, like, somebody will send me their resume, and I can help, especially my vets. I know how hard it can be, especially if you're transitioning. And so I'll usually help vets for like a discount, like, or sometimes for free, you know. So that's I just don't have time to do it, but I can point you to people who do. Um, who does it? Professor Black Ops, you do tutoring? Like, you can, I think, Professor Black Ops, and then there's Will Reed. Will Reed at Better Everyday Cyber. He does direct GRC tutoring, direct, like, mentorship type stuff. But I know of some people who, I think Simply Cyber might have some kind of mentorship. I don't have any of that just yet. It's not something I've had time to do. Have I done a little bit? I mean, I've done a little bit of it. The best I've been able to do is like courses where you can jump in there, and then sometimes I'll meet with my people who are doing the courses, and we'll do like a one-on-one session where I give them a roadmap of how to get from A to Z. It's just because I just don't have time. I'm doing all these other things. I really like to do books, and courses and stuff that I can put out there that lives for a long time. I know that doesn't make as much money, but that's just what I'm into. Let me see. What beginner GRC do you recommend taking? What beginner GRC? So I recommend GRC to people who have a background in help desk or SOC analyst work. Like, if you have some hands on, GRC is a really, really great transition for you, because you have exposure to a lot of the main components of being a governance, risk management, and compliance person. But that said, there's people like Chris at Tech Woke, who doesn't have a help desk background, who went directly into GRC. But I mean, that dude is pretty special. where he had a master's degree and then had a clearance from working in security. So he had a way in, you know what I mean? So um it's to come directly in for a beginner, what I would recommend depends on where you start from. Uh, if you're let's start from like scratch. Like let's say you don't know anything. You're a teacher at a school, you don't know anything, but you've heard about this cyber where you don't have to be too technical and you're like, man, and then they get paid really good and it's pretty good. You've heard about this, right? You're in a whole nother industry. Well, every industry has some form of GRC. So and taking that example of being a teacher, teachers have something called FERPA, which is the family. Oh my lord, I can never remember what FERPA stands for. So FERPA is it helps it's a regulatory standard that helps to protect students and parents. Okay, here it is right here. FERPA is the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, and it's a law from the federal government where we have to protect students' information and their privacy. Student, not just the students, but the teachers too. So that right there, that is GRC. Like there are specialists who that's all they do is FERPA. So this right here might be a way for you to get in as a teacher if especially if you are doing a little bit of technical work on the side. Like if you help, if I was what I would do if I was an administrator or a teacher and I wanted to do GRC, knowing what I know now, right? Magically knowing what I know now. What I would do is I would learn number one, learn some basic IT fundamentals. I'd learn like networking, a little bit about cloud stuff. And it's not really hard, right? If you're a teacher, you could learn this, you could pick this up easy. Uh I I got a FERPA video. Okay. Uh, Professor Black Ops has a FERPA video, so go ahead and check that one out. And I'm sure there's a whole bunch of YouTube videos, but Professor Black Ops, the way he breaks things down with visuals and stuff, you wanna definitely check him out. But he breaks down FERPA from a security perspective. You want to get someone with a security perspective breaking down something like FERPA, because then you'll start to see with our eyes how this can be a governance, risk management, and compliance, a cybersecurity type thing. So now getting back on track here. So if I were you, if I was a teacher, right, getting stressed out and my pay is questionable, and I'm like, damn, maybe I should transition. So what I would do is I would learn the fundamentals of IT. Number one, and you can learn it. Like it's not rocket science. It's not freaking brain surgery. It's accessible, right? There is a learning curve. You'll learn basics of networking. You'll learn client server model. You learn what cloud computing is all about. The fundamentals, like so you can speak the lingo when you hear people talking about basic technical stuff. You get it. You know how a computer works, the basics of that, right? That take you a few months to learn from scratch to learn it, and then get some hands-on stuff. And a good curriculum to follow would be something like the Security Plus or A Plus. You really, really don't know anything and you're just computer illiterate, like A Plus, CompTIA A Plus, good start. So once you have that foundation as a teacher, the next step you would want to do is get smart on FERPA. And actually, you could do those at the same time. You could do them in parallel, where you're learning basic IT stuff and then doing FERPA stuff at the same time, learning those two things, and start getting that FERPA stuff on your resume, because now you're building your resume up to where you're going to try to go to another district and be a FERPA specialist or a cybersecurity person who just does the FERPA stuff. So those are the things I would recommend. And the thing is, each sector has something like a FERPA. Um, banks and like wealth funds and financial institutions have things like Sarbanes-Oxley. Retail sector has PCI DSS. There's different GRC. How do I put it? Clothing on each sector. There's different things that apply to those different sectors. So I mean, here I mostly talk about what I know, which is government, but I've had exposure to some other, like the healthcare sector. I've had exposure to that one, and the financial sector and things like that. But mostly what I know off like the top of my head is the government stuff. Okay, I've got some more questions here. I'm always surprised nobody asked me about working from home. I love working from home so much that I'm so surprised more people are not interested in it. This work from home and work this these books do not sell at all. There's nobody cares. Okay, let me see. I'm hoping to have a GRC career remote. What degree pathways should I take when I transfer for the BA? Uh, Bachelor's degree is really good. I know that there's a lot of talk about there's some backlash against degrees and stuff right now, and I understand. I mean, they're overpriced. They take too long. People are getting like filled to the gills with debt, student debt, and stuff like that. But I still one of the best things you can one of the things that's going to make you the most competitive is a degree. And that said, to answer your question, any kind of technical STEM, really any STEM degree will help, but I would recommend a computer, I would recommend a BS information systems or information technology. And the reason why is because it's so well rounded. From there, you could go into management, you could go into forensics, you could go into computer science and do like programming. You can go all these different directions. And I think not everybody's built for like a computer science type engineering mathematical degree where you're just programming. Um, so that would be my recommendation. It'd be the most bang for your buck. And if you're not trying to be a computer scientist or you're not trying to build machine learning AI from scratch or something, like those are like your computer science type degrees. But if you're just trying to get in this workforce and be competitive and knock something out that's not going to break the bank, like it's not going to be too much money, be a BS or BA in information technology, information systems. It's a lot of writing. It's a lot of concept stuff. It's not as hardcore technical, but you can do that. There's specializations where you can go more hardcore and be into that. Like that's what I was into, but you don't have to do it. So that's what I would recommend for a GRC job, especially BSIT, because with GRC, although you should have some kind of technical background so you can get in there and talk to your system team or whoever, your network guys or whatever, right, and understand what they're saying. You're not really doing as much hands-on stuff. You're doing a lot of meetings, you're doing a lot of stuff like that. Somebody said I'm asking about DoorDash. This is my wife right here. It's cracking me up. Okay, let me get back to some questions here. The inside joke is I've been doing DoorDash in between jobs. Good one. I'm reading more questions here, y'all. GRC overnight gigs. GRC overnight gigs. GRC. I don't know. You have to ask me. You're gonna have to give me more context to your question. Okay, another one here is hello. I'm coming from 10 years in desktop, finishing my degree in networking and cybersecurity and unsure. First of all, let me tell you, like you've got a really good foundation. So if you are going, you've already done help. I'm imagining you're talking about help desk type stuff. So you have hands on, and you have a degree in networking and cybersecurity. Like you have a really good foundation already for the fundamentals, and you're unsure of where to go from here. It depends on what you want to do, right? But from here, you've got yourself such a great foundation that you can go any direction you want. So you could go super deep into the SOC analyst stuff. That's really fun to do, where you're doing network forensics and going into the SANS curriculum. of study, um, those SANS courses and things like that, or you could go into GRC stuff. You can go into management from here. You've got you've got to once you get that foundation, you this is why I always tell people like help desk is so cool, is so incredible to start from help desk because from there you can branch into these different directions. So it depends on what you want to do. If you could tell, if you could give me an idea of like what you want to do, I could give you some information. I could guide you in the right direction, or at least tell you. Or it's not just me, by the way. I've got security expert here. I got Professor Black Ops here, and some other people who follow me who have way more experience than I do, who can give you some more context on which way they would recommend you go. So this is a community here, so we've got a lot of wisdom here. I just need more context from you. Okay, I got another question here on TikTok. Let me see. I'm transitioning to get into container security. Currently in network engineering in GovTech. Oh, this is great. So this is also what I'm getting into right now, and it's so fun. Like I'm so excited about it. So I believe what you're talking about, if I'm not mistaken, if I understand what you've written here, is DevSecOps, where you're scanning containers and Docker and Kubernetes, OpenShift. Yeah. So the last place that I was working at, we had a variant of Kubernetes, I should say, and it was incredible. It was so fun. Like, um, how do you get into it? What you could do is build your own Kubernetes lab. So what I started doing is building my own Docker type stuff, building my building up my own Kubernetes, reading up as much as possible about it. That way, so what happened, what I did was once I learned more stuff about it and started doing my own like little labs and stuff so I can speak on it because I didn't have a lot of direct experience on Kubernetes. In fact, I had zero before this last job I just did. So what I did was I started making labs and reading up on it and stuff. And and then I started applying for the jobs. And what I found is it's mostly DevSecOps, right? It's app security type stuff. They want you to know how to secure um, application building pipelines. So when the developers create an app, right? They have the source code. We've got to scan the source code to make sure the logic is good. We got to make sure that there's no secret API keys in the code, right? Unless they're supposed to be there, and if they are, like, how can we secure it and stuff like that? You scan that, then it goes from there to a development piece where other people are looking at it, and then from there, maybe it goes to before it goes to production, it gets scanned one more time, but now as a complete software, and then it goes into production. Once it's all approved, it goes in production. A DevSecOps is in that pipeline. They're making sure each piece of that DCI, yeah, CI/CD. So a lot of the stuff for Kubernetes, they're asking for those tools. They want you to know SaaS tools. They want you to know DAST tools. They want you to have uh, those kind of skills and access to those kinds of tools. Is what I noticed. What tools are used to scan the apps? Sounds like vulnerability management, right? So it does sound like that, right? So the tools that come up a lot are um off the top of my head, um tools that come up are something called Twistlock is one of the tools that comes up. Um, Palo Alto has a suite of tools. I believe they bought Twistlock. Prisma is one of the tools that's used in the industry, but they've got a whole bunch of other tools that AWS has their own set of tools like Inspector, and different tools that will also scan containers. Um, and the reason, so this is interesting, like for me, because this is kind of what I'm trying to get into. Um, when you start getting into Kubernetes, the people who are using that mostly are developers, and so that's why DevSecOps is those suite of tools become important because you're scanning their environments that they use to develop their software, and that's why you need to know some of those tools and have some of those on your resume. And luckily, a lot of those are available on for free online. You can get on there on like for example, AWS has a free. You can get on AWS for free and use some of those tools um, for a limited cost. And I believe that Azure has some as well. Has some of those CI/CD tools for scanning and looking at containers and things like that. Let me see. I got some more questions here. Thank you guys for your questions. I really appreciate it. Let me see here. I'm transitioning into container security, currently doing network engineering. Yeah, you're in the right field if you're doing network engineering, because you got to know networking too. You got to know cloud. I would recommend getting deeper into cloud, how Kubernetes and Kubernetes variants like OpenShift are being used in the cloud. Let's see. I'm government GRC, but I want to get into different branches, not far off from GRC. I want something permanent. What do you recommend for a learning path? It depends on what are you trying to go more technical, or are you trying to do like more management? Because from GRC you can go either direction. If you were going more technical, um, if you were going more technical, I would recommend the cloud stuff that I'm talking about, the DevSecOps stuff, because it's not going anywhere. More technical, like, man, check this out. So I'm also coming from the same background. I have extensive years and years of GRC, mostly in the government sector, and I just really enjoy technical stuff. And so the trend is AI. It's not going to go away. Like it might be financially, it might be a bubble, right? Maybe they're over investing or something in it. I don't know. I don't know that side of it. But I could tell you this: the more I use it, the more I realize this is not going anywhere. It's just too useful. It's just way too useful. Um, there's some challenges, I understand like the whole them investing as much as they are into this, and then they're talking about like letting people are getting let go because they're taking money from employees and then investing it into these giant data centers, and the data centers are built where they're sucking all the water out of these towns and stuff. There's definitely challenges, right? But at some point somebody's going to solve for X, and it's going to be fixed. And whether that means it's mostly from another country. Maybe there's some other countries who are more suited for this. They have the right engineers to do it. They have the right environment for it. They have the right mindset. You know, Dubai is looking pretty good. Like some Middle Eastern countries, China is looking pretty good as far as the back end of this. They might be better suited. I mean, unless the U.S. gets its shit together, I don't. I'm not sure how it's going to work. Anyway, the reason why I've been leaning more towards it because I can see things going in that direction. More organizations are doing Kubernetes because they have to. Everything's going faster as they implement AI into their infrastructure. Kubernetes is the best way to implement these things. I'll give you an example. Whenever you go to OpenAI, or let's say Netflix, not everybody uses OpenAI or ChatGPT or something like that. Let's take Netflix. So Netflix, their entire back end is in the cloud on AWS, right? And they use tools like Kubernetes in the back end if you've ever wondered, like how in the world can you scale that fast? Meaning scaling means How in the world can you have everybody on planet Earth watching so many videos on their platform? Just think about it. They have hundreds of millions of people watching on their platform. And if you think about it, it's amazing. Like, it is amazing how they're able to do that. People are opening and closing, watching Stranger Things, closing that, going searching over, watching something else. It's recommending hundreds of million people at once all this stuff, right? They're closing their account, they're opening an account, they're sharing their account with this other person. Think about the infrastructure they have to do something like this. They're using a storage backend in the cloud. They're using they've got to start instances up quickly and bring them down again, right? All of this requires massive scale. It's got to be able to come up really quick and go down really quick, and do that instantaneously. The only way they can do that is things like Kubernetes, where, and I keep saying that word, but what the hell is it? What does it mean? Like, what is it? So it's a the best way I can describe it. How do I describe it? It's a, I wish I could like draw it and show you. It's like it's a computer system, a bunch of servers, right? Imagine three servers together, three big computers, right? The Kubernetes is a layer that goes across all three of those computers, and it is a system that can manage clusters, manage resources across those. Meaning it can take RAM from one, and then storage from three, and then the compute from two. It can take different resources from the hardware and then move them around or whatever, right? It'll have a fixed set of resources, and then on top of that, it'll have pods or like sections that it can sector off and say, okay, you run this part of Netflix, you run this part of Netflix, and you run. It's almost like it's using different computers as like one computer, and then able to flexibly be very flexible to spin up whatever you need without having to worry about which computer you're pulling the resources from, right? That's the best way I can describe it in plain English. Um, it's amazing. And you know who came up with that? Take a guess. Take a guess who came up with that. I'll wait. Google. Google came up with that because they used to call it. They came up with something called Borg, and the reason why they did that is because they had to, because they were one of the first organizations that were serving that many people at that scale. So they had to have something that can manage a large amount of compute and RAM and storage instantaneously. And that's what Kubernetes does. It is able to, for you, so you don't have to worry about it. You're the system admin, you're a developer, you don't have to worry about the back end. There's a layer that is taking care of all of that stuff for you. And then it gives you what's called a container. And that container is really good for developers, because developers can sit inside that container, do all their development, write their code, do it, run it, all this kind of stuff. And they don't have to worry about what operating system am I on? What do I have enough RAM? Do I have enough storage? Do I have enough? So as a programmer, if you've ever done any kind of programming, you program on this computer, right? And you get your app working. It's working. Wow, I can see the screen popping up, and I can see the drop down is finally working. I'm using JavaScript. Man, I got it going. Now you want to move it to this other computer. Shit don't work. Shit don't work. Why? Because the operating system's different. It could be the same operating system and the same hardware, and the shit still doesn't work because you don't have a certain package on that computer. It's such a pain, and it makes it so that you spend all this time messing around with it. And that's why organizations have had to hire, just to do some software, they have to hire network engineers, a whole team of network engineers, a whole team of security guys, a whole team of IT professionals and help desk people, because you need all of that to make sure that this app can run here and here and here. But with Kubernetes, it makes it so that you don't have to worry about what operating system you're on. You don't have because it's in one container that has everything, an image. You don't have to worry about what operating system you're on. You don't have to worry about what packages are there. You don't have to worry about all these different things. You can just have everything already ready to go in that one environment. So that's one of the things that Kubernetes allows you to do. Let me see here. It's a cloud or okay, like people way smarter than me are starting to chime in on this. Who know this stuff intimately. Let me see. Somebody said they summed it up. It's a container orchestration service. Worker nodes. Yeah, Google, somebody new. Yeah, it's amazing. Like the more I know, like when I start reading about it and start messing around with it, I'm like, damn. I got it. Like it clicked, man. I was like, damn, I got it. That's brilliant. That's amazing. And then it became very apparent to me everybody's using it because it's the only way you can do it's the only way you can do chat GPT like they're doing it. It's the only way you can do Gemini, all the platforms that are serving out hundreds of millions of people all over the world. It's the only way you could do it is something like Kubernetes. And Kubernetes is not the only solution. Like there's other ones but they use something like Kubernetes. OpenShift is one of them, but there's other ones too. I think Oracle might have their own version of it. I don't know. But Red Hat definitely does have their own version of it. Yeah, it's really interesting. Hey, got laid off. Any advice on how to get a job? Been applying to a million. I'm right there with you. I'm also applying to about a million. It's hard out in these streets, man. It's bad right now. It's crazy. I've never seen it like this before. I've been through several different administrations. I've been through like after even COVID and 2008 and I've never seen anything like this is hardcore right here. And then they're hiding the numbers, which is crazy. Like that's not helping. But yeah, I not only was I laid off, but many other people in our organization was laid off, and other people who I know have been laid off. I'm like, I don't know what's going on, y'all. Not good. Not good. Something's got to give. Yeah, crazy, man. Crazy. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Paul says, "Hi, Bruce. I work in GRC in a university. I have a master's degree in cyber, a CISSP, a CISA, a CRISC soon. Would you like to learn? Would like to learn some ISO 27001. Start offering services on this side and build it up. Is it possible? Um, ISO 27001 is if you've been in GRC for some time, ISO 27001 is pretty straightforward. It's pretty straightforward. I was doing we had ISO 27001 at one organization that I worked for, where we had to align ISO 27001 with some other standards, and ISO 27001 is pretty simple when you compare it to like a NIST 800, which I'm more used to. It's pretty thin. um, but yeah, I think that it's possible to do that. I think probably a bigger market would be like the CMMC or the 20 or NIST 800-171 would be another one. And here's the difference. ISO 27001 I notice is used in like international organizations, like companies that need to be compliant with not only US standard but also Canada or also EU or something, right? But and there's a market for that. There definitely is a market for it, meaning people wanting to buy it and consume and use it and stuff like that. So yes, the answer to your question is it possible to have some kind of service where you offer that, absolutely. The one I'm seeing that's hotter though is NIST 800 171 and CMMC. And the reason why I think is because those are therefore companies, small and medium sized and large companies who want to supply a product or service directly to the US federal government. And the US federal government has a gigantic $1 trillion budget, right? And so they can't do all that work themselves. They have to hire people. And whether you're talking about this current administration or the previous 10, they've gone more in a direction where they're starting to hire more contractors and less so internally. I mean, they still have a gigantic, they still hire tons of GSs in military, whatever, right? But they rely heavily on other companies to do this. And so hold on a second. Hold on, give me a second here, guys. We got to make sure that TikTok doesn't turn off on me. Okay, there we go. So the NIST 800 171 is to allow these smaller companies who have to bid on these contracts to be compliant with the DoD in particular's standards. So that would be probably be one that you want to add to your list of things to consider. But I mean, ISO 27001 definitely has a market for sure. And maybe because you're in the university, maybe you see more ISO 27001. Is that the reason why you were looking into doing that one? I'm interested in that. I would like to know more about that, Paul. About what your goal is for that. Somebody said, "Hey, just joined. I have a Security Plus and can't do anything with it. What do you recommend?" So Security Plus is an awesome certification, but what employers mostly are looking for is experience. So there's a hierarchy, So what they're really looking for is experience. Once you get into the interview, if you can land an interview, the first thing they're going to do is ask you about what you've done. And then they're going to want to know what you've done so they can figure out if you can do that same thing for them. The next one in line, right? If you in this hierarchy, experience being the top of the pyramid, would be a degree. A degree makes you extremely competitive in IT market. A associate's, a bachelor's, or of course, a master's degree. Those three, master's degree being the top, bachelor's degree being optimal, very good to get. So a degree, and then you have your certification. A certification is just supposed to validate that you know a certain thing. It's supposed to validate your experience. That's what it's supposed to be. Because of its marketability, its curriculum, its price point, it's kind of been something very attractive to folks like us in the field who are trying to get a job, because it doesn't take the time and money that a degree does. It makes you a little bit more competitive in the market. But one of the missing pieces for folks that think that you're going to just get a certification and then suddenly win a job, the thing that they're missing, I noticed, is the experience piece. So that's really the part that you focus most of your time on, the experience. The next question you should ask yourself is, how do you get experience? That's a very good question. One of the things you can do is, if you're in school currently, you can go for a student work program. You can do internships easier from certain colleges. Sometimes they'll have like some kind of a relationship with local companies. Let's say you're not a student. You're a working guy like myself, and you got your Security Plus. You're working in a whole different industry, right? You're a teacher, you're whatever. Now what can you do? Well, how can you get experience? Well, what I would do is I would look internally for whatever organization I'm working for. I'd see if there was a way for me to get experience uh, in that industry. That's what I would do. That's one of the things I do. Another thing you can do that's not talked about enough is projects. You can add projects to your resume. So projects you want to do is whatever industry you happen to be in. If you're trying to go into SOC analyst work, you'd want to do you'd want to do more a SOC analyst, you'd want to do more SOC analyst type projects like running scans, um, looking at the scan results and breaking out the packets. You'd want a packet analyzer, like you'd want to do things like Wireshark. You'd want to do things like Master Nmap. You'd want to look at FTK maybe. You'd want to be like one of the forensics type tools. Like you can run all those from your house. Like you can set up a whole environment on and then do all that stuff and then put that on your resume. Here's the project I did, and then that would help. If you're trying to go into cloud, wow, there's so many projects on cloud. And listen, the one of the best resources, I think the best resource you can do to get these, to figure out number one, what to do, and then how to do these, where they'll literally walk you through, is YouTube. There's so many awesome creators on YouTube that will walk you through. They'll do like a 4-hour course for free and walk you through exactly what to do on a specific thing. I remember I was wanting to write I wrote an app many years ago. I made an app, a couple different apps on my own. I'm not a programmer, okay? I just had this vision of what I wanted to do, and I wanted to just write it by myself. And so I went to the internet, I went to YouTube and looked up it was in Swift at the time. I had to do one app on Android and one on the iPhone, because those are the biggest markets. And so I had to learn how to code this thing in some programming language called Swift, and I had no idea what to do. So from scratch, from nothing, I followed this Vietnamese creator who walked you through how to do from start to finish. It was like a 10 video course he did that he put out there for free on his channel. And I just happened to find this dude. It was 100% in Vietnamese. And I actually finished it. I did this whole app. Took me like a month or something because I had nothing. I had no idea what I was doing, but I just followed exactly what he was doing. And YouTube is one of the best places to learn to go out and figure out and do these projects. And then you can list that I could literally list that on my resume, that I wrote a program in Swift. I mean, it's so long ago and I don't know it off the top of my head anymore, but I mean, some of the things I'm doing right now, I have listed it on my resume. If you go right now on my on LinkedIn, you'll see on my resume um Convo courses. I'll do a bunch of projects on Convo courses, and I've listed some of those. I started doing some coding. I just have this vision of what I want to do, and I'm like, man, I'm so excited to do it, and I've listed it on my resume. And it's stuff I'm actually using. So one of which is I wrote this. I'm still messing around with it, but it's a gap. It's a resume gap analysis program, and you put your resume in it. It's for free right now. You can go on convocourses.com and check it out. Like, it's got some bugs and stuff, some stuff I need to work out, but yeah, I created this thing. So you put your resume in it, and it'll do a gap analysis, ask you these questions, and it'll say, okay, based off of your resume, you can do X, Y, and Z. So what did I learn from it? I'm learning how to use AI that's beyond just prompting. I'm learning things like how to protect API keys. I'm learning things like it's giving me all this hands-on those are things you could list on your resume. Legitimately, I know how to do those things. I did it. I literally did those things. So if it comes up on in an interview, I'll say, "Yep, this is what I'm doing." Why am I doing it? Oh, I'm doing it because I'm trying to maintain my CISSP. I've got to get a certain amount of CPEs every year. I'm also doing it for my community. I like to help people out. It's just a way that I can continue to learn and also help other people. It's just it gives me a sense of purpose, and I like to do it. Paul is in Europe. Oh, that's why you want to do ISO 27001. Man, yeah, that will absolutely work in Europe. Here we don't in the US we don't use it as much unless it's an international company. Um and Paul, I would recommend also doing and you know more than me, man, about this, but GDPR would be another great one. I believe that one's probably even bigger. Like as a service, man, that would be huge. Yeah, I would totally do that. You should definitely do that, Paul. Paul was talking about he's working at a university and he's going to do like a service where he does ISO 27001, right? Another thing you might want to consider is creating like, and this is something I was thinking about is because I don't see anybody really doing this at a good price point, is create some kind of app that will help to create GRC documents for ISO 27001 because I don't see a lot. I mean, there's a couple out there, but they're very high priced, and I think that you could do better. I think you could do a better job for cheaper. So you better do that one before I do it. Or hey, contact me, man. We could do it together. Um, Let me see. Robertson says, thoughts on the best avenue for small consulting firm to focus on with a target client base for a small business, small medium business, and or minority at risk companies in 2026. Best avenue for small consulting firm to focus on small and medium business. How would you do that? How would you target medium? I mean, number one, if this was me, I would definitely have a presence online. I would have a presence on LinkedIn, and who's doing this really really well? Let me show you somebody real quick. This dude is killing. This is real. The way he's doing this is really really smart. This dude right here, uh, Chris, he's from Tech Woke, and this dude right here, see how he's marketing himself? This is how you do it. You don't have to do it exactly like this, but I'm just thinking like the way he does it is really, really smart. He's got the RMF Academy. He's got his own website. And then what he'll do is on LinkedIn, he'll just post daily on LinkedIn. This is what I would do if I were you, because you just got to get yourself out there, right? And this is the one of the best ways to get yourself out there is to just promote yourself on because we don't know who you are. Like we don't know. And the thing is, you probably have the best service out there. But if nobody knows who you are, then how the hell, you know what I mean? Like how do they know that you so one of the biggest things you want to do is kind of like this is just advertise the shit out of yourself on LinkedIn. Not just LinkedIn, but on YouTube, on TikTok, wherever business happens to be. Just put yourself out there. And you know what's the magic of this of social media, right? Using it as a superpower, right? I mean, don't just doom scroll. Like we have a superpower here. You can use it to just put your information out there. Talk about things a client will have a challenge with, and then when you put it out there, they'll reach out to you. Like that's what's been happening to me all these years of doing Convo courses. What'll happen is I'll get these small businesses reach out to me and they'll say, "Hey man, I saw your video about risk management framework. You broke it the way you broke it down really made sense to me and I have a small business. I'm trying to I actually have a contract with XYZ federal organization and we I really need help to break out the system security plan. And the way you talk about it, I've gotten quite a few 1099 type jobs doing this where I they hired me for like a few months. One hired me, my very first one was from a blog I did where all I would do is talk about what's called Diacap. It was old risk management framework. And I was one of the first ones who did it. And I know because I blew the hell up for a minute. Like for a minute, I got some like notoriety. Like it was so crazy that I'd get hired at like a DoD place, and I would see my content on their servers because nobody else was teaching it anyway. So I was doing that because I've been doing this kind of stuff. Like I'll just talk about I know risk management framework, so I'll just do a simple video about risk management framework. And what'll happen is I'll get contacted by someone who want to pay me, and then I'll do like 3 months of work with them, and that's it. The very first one was when I did that blog, and I got hired. Um, and that was the first time I made six figures, and I did that for a year. This brilliant, brilliant lady who I will never forget. She was amazing, and she hired me. I was her first employee. First time I made 100,000. I was really trying to do business with her, but she wasn't trying to hear that. She was like, "Shut up, employee." But anyway, so I did that for like a year, and it was awesome. Like I learned quite a bit, and I've been reaching out to her. I mean, maybe I can have her on this and then ask her some questions and stuff. I would love that. I need to get a hold of her again. But yeah, so that's one of the things you would do is just put yourself out there, like start making videos. I know it's difficult, but you could do like faceless videos where you just show the screen and explain scanning or whatever you do. And then eventually people will start reaching out to you. It'll start slow, but you don't need hundreds of thousands of people following you to get to make money. Like your following can my following's not huge, but I'll get every now and then I'll have like I can't really, I'm not gonna go into specifics, but I have an organization, a real like world class organization contact me and say, hey, would you like to do this X, Y, and Z? And I'll say yes. And then I'll bid on a contract and I'll lose it. But that's something, But I've probably done it like 5 or 6 times where an organization will contact me. I've been contacted many times, but where I actually worked from was about 5 or 6 times. And from this channel, not from my resume, from this channel. Like somebody watched this and said, "Hey, Bruce, like, can you work?" And then we'll talk on the phone and be like, and I'm like, "Yeah, sure, let's work this out." And then I'll work for them for like a few months, and then so yeah, I would recommend you get yourself out there, and then you as much as possible, and then they'll reach out to you. Um, but that's awesome. I hope you get some business. I hope to answer your question. Maybe I didn't answer your question. I do that sometimes. Just go off on a tangent. Let me see. For information, CISSP in master's degree in security, architecture, and HIPAA, PCI DSS, FedRAMP experience. Don't want to spread ourselves too thin. Rather focus on a niche, a small business. Yeah. Yep. And that's another thing is like my niche really. I mean, I talk about other things, but the thing that gets the most traction as far as like business is concerned, like money, is risk management framework. Like that's been my bread and butter. Like that when people see that content, I talk about people getting jobs. I talk about I got one coming out for HIPAA. I've got oh man, what else? I'll talk about AI. I'll talk about like other stuff, but the thing that really has gotten me the jobs has been that niche risk management framework. People really like those videos. So they'll look up a video I did 6 years ago and say, "This video is incredible. and I'll get hired off a video I did 6 years ago. That's very niche. That's talking about a very specific thing. It's amazing, and I can only imagine if I did more videos, like if I did more videos on a regular basis, I'd probably get way more. I used to do a lot more videos, like more, not lives don't do that good, and shorts do even worse. The ones that really do good are the ones that I edit. I'll record it, edit it, and put it out there. Those do really good. I just haven't had time to do those, but no excuses. I mean, those are the ones you want to do, really. But lives are good too. Let me see here. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate everybody jumping in, um, and asking your questions and chiming in and giving comments and stuff. I really appreciate it, guys. If you are interested in getting into cybersecurity and GRC stuff, again, if you go to login.convocourses.com or just convocourses.com, you'll see some links to some free stuff that I've got, some downloadables. And right now, I've already started rewriting and adding to the work from home book. So that one's right now for free. You can download it as a PDF and do whatever you're gonna do with it. That one, once I update it, I will put it on Amazon. It'll be paid. So for a limited time, go ahead and check it out. Anthony, how you doing, man? Appreciate you guys watching. Thanks everybody so many people watch me on TikTok. That's crazy. The TikTok is growing. It's amazing. It's amazing. Like, you don't know like what's really gonna pick up. Like, you got to try different platforms. That's another thing I'll say. What's the website again? It is convocourses.com. If you go to my link is in description, link is in my profile. Go ahead and check it out. I got free books, free courses, free all kinds of templates, free all kinds of things. Join it. There's no obligation. Just go ahead and check it out. And that book, everything some of the stuff I talked about in the beginning of this, I'm breaking it down in that book. So it's just a community of like-minded people who just happen to be in IT or risk management framework and cyber. We chat it up. We'll just post stuff on there. So you don't have to wait for me to post something once a week. You know what I mean? So you can go and we can talk there. Now, I do have a lot of people contacting me, so sometimes it'll take me a minute to get back to, and I apologize for that, but I will get back to you. And that's it, guys. I think that's it for today. I got to go do some DoorDash. This is fucking crazy.